Stat 1150, the purpose of this video is to talk about something called a coefficient of determination. And essentially a coefficient of determination is just r squared. So in the previous videos, what we've looked at is we want to start with the common theme in this textbook, see it, and summarize it. And in this part, in the two variable statistics part that I'm trying to teach you, what we would do is we would look at a scatter plot and we would talk about three things. Is it linear? What's the strength? And what's the direction? So if I'm given something like this, of some just kind of random x and y, is it linear? Yep, appears to be. What's the strength? Strong, weak, or moderate? I say strong. What's the direction? Well, it falls off to the right. So this has a negative relationship. The second thing I would want to do is I would want to calculate R, which is the correlation coefficient. And I'll tell you right now, the correlation coefficient for this data would be probably around a negative 0.85, indicating, as we talked about earlier, looking at that breakdown of those values, that I presented in a previous video, an R of negative 0.85 would fall about right there someplace, which indicates the segment of a strong negative relationship. But guys, there's a follow-up measurement to R, which is called R squared. And it turns out that calculating R squared, if you're given R, is very easy. So in the previous problem, we said that R was negative 0.85, and I just took a stab at it, but I think that's going to be very close. So R squared is just going to be negative 0.85 quantity squared. Put that in our calculator. And I get 0.7225. Now, first of all, R squared is always reported as a percentage. So we'd want to move the decimal place 2 places to the right. And we would say that our R squared is 72.25%. Now, what R squared does for us, this explains the percentage of variation in our y variable that can be explained by our regression model. Now you're probably sitting there thinking, Dr. Darborough, what in the heck is a regression model? You haven't taught us anything about that. Well, right now, just put the words to memory. Understand that this R squared seeks to explain the variation in our y variable, and this regression model is to be learned later. In fact, it's to be learned very, very, very soon, actually in the next video. So really, that's all I want you to know about that. Just keep in mind that when whether R is positive or negative, when you square a negative, you get a positive. When you square a positive, you get a positive. So R squared will always be positive. Now, you'll never have a negative percentage. And keep in mind that this value explains the percentage of variation in your y variable. That can be explained by this thing that you have no idea what it is just yet. It's kind of goofy to present a definition in context of something you haven't looked at yet. But guys, we're just building a house. We're building a foundation right now. It's going to start all coming at you here in the next video or two. We're just trying to get some stuff. All right. Well, guys, I'm going to keep this one very simple. So enjoy these videos when you get them. Take care.